Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered if the strange things people are seeing today are really new? Well, we're about to connect the dots between modern UAPs and some just astonishingly detailed blueprints for flying machines found in an ancient Sanskrit text.
So, here's the big question we're tackling today. What if the advanced craft that just baffle our best pilots and scientists aren't new at all? What if their impossible maneuvers are actually echoing technologies that were written down in ancient blueprints thousands of years ago? It's a wild thought, right?
Okay, so before we travel back in time, let's ground ourselves right here in the present. The modern mystery of unexplained aerial phenomena, or UAPs as they're now called, is very, very real.
And this isn't science fiction. We're talking about official reports from extremely credible sources. Military pilots, radar operators, everyday people, describing objects that pull off maneuvers that are just impossible for any known aircraft. They defy physics as we know it.
And look, this isn't some new fad. It's a story that's been building for well over a century. You could say it all kicks off with Roswell in '47, then you get these mass sightings like the Belgian UFO wave, and then, bam, it goes mainstream with the famous Tic Tac encounter in 2004. More recently, we've seen official Navy footage of objects moving from air to water without a splash, and a huge global surge in sightings just in the last couple of years.
So what makes these things so mind-bending? It's the patterns. You see the same reports over and over again. We're talking intensely bright objects that can stop on a dime and change direction instantly. They can just vanish. They travel between air and water like it's nothing, and, get this, they even appear to multiply. Now remember those characteristics, because this is where our story is about to take a very sharp turn into the distant past.
All right, we're now going to pivot from modern military reports to ancient history. We're diving into a specific Sanskrit text called Vimana Shastra. It claims to be a guide to building and flying these advanced aerial vehicles called Vimanas. And when you start looking at what it describes, wow, some incredible parallels start to pop up.
So for example, let's take one of the most baffling UAP behaviors. They just disappear, right? 1 second a pilot has a solid radar lock, and the next, poof, it's gone.
Well, get this. The Vimana Shastra describes a specific technique for this exact thing. It's called Guda. The text says it allows a pilot to make their craft completely invisible. It's an ancient term for what our modern military pilots are experiencing as, well, advanced cloaking technology.
Okay, here's another one. From the famous Phoenix Lights incident to sightings happening right now, witnesses report seeing a single object suddenly split into multiple identical copies, and then, sometimes, they merge back into one. How is that possible? And again, the Vimana Shastra has a name for that. It calls it the Chaya Grahana, which means shadow capture technique. It describes a method for a Vimana to project clones of itself, probably as a way to confuse an enemy. We're talking about an ancient concept for holographic decoys. It's wild.
So the parallels in what these objects can do are striking enough. But what's truly mind-bending is that the text doesn't just stop there. It actually tries to explain how it all works through these complex mechanisms it calls yantras.
Okay, first things first, you need power. The text calls the power source the Shakti-Akarshana Yantra, which basically means an energy-attracting mechanism. The idea here is a system that doesn't carry all its own fuel, but pulls power directly from the world around it.
And the text gets surprisingly specific. It says this device could pull energy from the sun and the wind, but also, and this is incredible, from Earth's gravity. It was also supposed to cancel out turbulence for a perfectly smooth flight, and could even offload extra power to a storage unit back on the ground. The whole idea sounds a lot like modern theories about hybrid renewable energy, or even super advanced concepts like MHD generators.
Then you've got the Vimana's eyes and its defensive shield, all wrapped into one incredible device, the Universal Observation Mirror. And trust me, this wasn't just a piece of glass. It's described as an all-in-one sensor and defense system with some unbelievable capabilities.
Just think about this for a second. According to the text, this single device could work like a space telescope to see distant planets and then project what it sees as a live 3D hologram. This is the same system that could create those holographic decoy Vimanas we talked about. It's like combining a spy satellite, the James Webb telescope, and a military-grade hologram projector into one piece of ancient tech.
Now, to help out that main power system, the text also describes something called the Ganapan Yantra, which was a specialized solar collector, and the design is just fascinating.
It's supposedly inspired by an elephant's trunk, which gives you a hint about its shape and how it worked.
The description basically paints a picture of this trunk-shaped device that concentrates sunlight, channels that energy through a system of wheels and wires, and then stores it in a chemical unit made of crystals and acids. I mean, that's essentially an ancient blueprint for a modern solar concentrator hooked up to a battery.
And of course, what good is a flying machine without protection, right? Well, the final piece of tech described is the Parivesha Kriya Yantra, the protective shield system. This thing was supposed to generate a halo around the Vimana for both defense and for guidance. The text describes this halo as an electromagnetic field or maybe even a plasma field. The same system supposedly used solar rays to help with propulsion and navigation and could even throw out smoke for stealth. The ideas here, plasma shields, solar sails, I mean, this is startlingly similar to concepts on the absolute cutting edge of aerospace research today. So, when you put all of these pieces together, what does it all mean? Are we looking at an ancient bridge to understanding our own future?
Let's just lay it all out one more time. The Shakti Akarshana is basically a blueprint for hybrid renewable energy. The Vishwa Kriya Mira is like an integrated satellite and hologram projector. The Ganespa is a dead ringer for our solar panels and batteries, and the Parivesha Kriya shield is an ancient concept for plasma shields and solar sails. When you see it all laid out like this, the overlap is it's undeniable.
Now, look, the point of all this isn't to definitively say that ancient aliens built pyramids or anything like that. The real takeaway is that this ancient knowledge might give us a completely new framework, a different lens to look through when we analyze the modern UAP phenomenon, and maybe, just maybe, inspires some future innovation.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty fascinating thought. Could it be that to take our next great leap in aerospace technology, we don't just need to look forward to the stars, but maybe we also need to look back, into the wisdom of our most distant past?